office building lobbies wasn't safe no more.
It starts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to I Talk Games. I appreciate you being here. Trying something new out today. I wanted to kind of talk about a game, do a little review, but I didn't want to do it after the fact. I want to give this a try. So if there's a bit of opportunity for some spontaneous events to come up, something cool to just happen randomly that I can comment on, or if I come across a moment where I could put in a meme or something like that, I think that'll happen more organically than if I were to try and just read the script. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of hybrid thing here, summarize my posts, summarize my thoughts, maybe give a little anecdote or two about some things I've done in the game or some things I've enjoyed while playing it. And yeah, I'm just going to play as I'm doing it. I'm going to try and multitask here and accomplish some of these weekly and daily tasks. So I hope this goes well, and let me know in the comments what you think. Let's start off by checking out today's task. The score is always 1, 15 challenge goals, a lip slide, and a sequence score. Okay, so just challenge goals. That's easy enough, basically. Challenges in Hedgemont, Hardcore Plaza, modified grabs. It's all Hedgemont. All right, slams and spins. Modified grabs, slams, spins, Hardcore Plaza, Hedgemont. Easy enough. I guess this is my first skate video game post, so just a little bit of context, a little bit of background. I've always loved skating video games. Since that first Tony Hawk game came out, I mean, I've been hooked. I love those things. I don't know why. I got a demo disc in a PlayStation magazine one day, and I was able to create a skate park and with the punchy pits and everything in there. The impossible combos, the crazy tricks, the crazy air you could get. It was ridiculous. I was hooked. You know, it was obviously unrealistic, but it was wild and it was a lot of fun. I'm not even gonna lie, it got me into skateboarding a little bit. I bought a skateboard. I tried to do a couple tricks. I even kickflipped once. It's stationary, but I count it. But yeah, they got crazier and crazier, and you know, at some point there gets to a point where it's like, what more can you do in a skating video game? And then Skate came out and they said, we'll go the opposite direction. Instead of trying to be crazy and do the most wild, ridiculous things you can do, we're going to give you a trick stick, and you're going to have to manipulate that in a way you might manipulate your feet if you were actually doing tricks on a skateboard. You know, instead of trying to figure out if you could break dance in the air, it was just you and the board and how many tricks you could do. And I thought it was dope. And you know, it's that much more satisfying when you pull off like a 3-4 trick combo and then land it. I mean, especially if it looks good. It gives a lot closer vibes to what you see if you were to go to YouTube and look up skateboarding competitions or random people just putting their skateboarding out there. If you were just watching people do tricks and stuff, they'll probably just throw a nice flip, maybe a manual, land on a picnic table or do it off of a picnic table, or maybe like a big gap over a rail or something like that. They're not these ridiculous, you know, backflips and front flips and all that. Like, there's vertical when you get into competition skating, but trying that 7 times in a row until you nail it, that was like what real skating looked like when I was a kid. And this game really got into that, and I thought it was dope. I liked it a lot. So when I heard about a new skate game coming out, I didn't hesitate to download it, and I wanted to dive right in.
I'm stoked to see where this session takes us. I'm feeling it's going to be fun.
I just wanted to let V finish. She can be kind of annoying. So anyway, if you haven't played Skate, and if you've only played like the Tony Hawk games before, you might not know what I mean when I say the trick stick. So like in the past, you would press X or square to do a...
It's an intentional strategy. Kudos.
Thanks, V. You would push a stick in the one direction and press just like square or X, depending on what platform you're playing on, in order to do a flip trick, and then you press like circle or B to do a grab, and then you press triangle to grind. But in this game, instead of using the buttons to pull off tricks, you actually use the stick. So right now when I'm doing all this, I'm actually moving the right stick in different ways, and you can see in the bottom the indicator that shows what I'm doing with the stick, and on the left hand side you can see what tricks I'm actually pulling off. So that's what I mean when it's a bit more realistic and a bit more satisfying when you pull off those types of tricks like that. Also, you still can grab. Use the right stick to grab with your right hand, use the left stick to grab with your left hand. You can grab the board with both hands too, which is kind of crazy and ridiculous. You know, I don't know if it's a trick per se, just a double grab, but I guess what is kind of cool is you can do a coffin and luge around the city if you so choose. And there are even some challenges that you have to do like a coffin 360 or a coffin flip, and those are kind of fun. And you can still do flips. It's just a bit more realistic like that. I'm not doing a crazy double backflip, Christ air off of this little ramp. Like, I need some serious air to get that in this game, whereas in like a Tony Hawk, I might be able to pull that off a lot more easily. And yeah, there's simple tricks, kick flips, heel flips. I said those backwards because I'm Switch right now. But then yeah, there's hundreds of tricks. You can get pretty complicated with it. And you can even like hold tricks. So if I jump off and I do a kick flip and I hold the direction, the board will flip multiple times until I stop holding the stick up. So like, it can get pretty complicated. And it's not like there's a shortage of tricks because you have to use the trick stick. There's definitely just as many as in a Tony Hawk. It's just certainly a lot more difficult to do and takes a lot more patience and skill to pull off. Oh, that was kind of dope, actually. I didn't even mean to do that. Oh, and when it comes to grinds, you know what? I'll start this because I'm going to almost guarantee that there's a grind in this challenge. Yep. And so when it comes to grinds, you also don't have to push anything. In the past, it would be triangle or Y depending on your platform. But in this, you just have to skate up to the ledge or the bar or whatever it is you're trying to grind and just hope you hit it at the right angle, basically. What am I supposed to do here? High score, grind the second bench, and do a grab over the stairs. All right, but here's what I'm talking about. See, I just skate up there and I had to line it up properly and I was able to grind. And you can do different grinds too. If you rotate the stick in different directions right before you grind, you can do different types of grinds as well. So again, you're not restricted to anything. You're really restricted just by how creative you can be with that right thumb. And I will say it can be a double-edged sword. Yes, it's realistic, but I mentioned it a couple times. It's more difficult. I mean, definitely, there's no other way to put it. Especially in some of these challenges where you have to do 4 to 6 grinds without falling. And you have to get all the bearings. They really make it a challenge. I'll just flat out say it. They'll put some of your grind obstacles a little bit higher than you can typically ollie or a little bit farther away. They'll put things right behind another obstacle. So you got to come in at just the right angle and jump at just the right time. And you can't even really try and do any tricks because that limits the height you get. And yeah, it can be really, really infuriating when you can't simply just jump, press triangle, get the grind, and then jump again and be done. But again, that makes it that much more satisfying. You know, when it's infuriating, it's satisfying. I'll maintain that forever. In challenges where you have to do specific grinds, on the left-hand side, you'll get a little bit of an input indicator telling you what you have to do with the right stick in order to pull off the trick. But they're typically based on your normal stance heading in your regular direction. So if you're goofy-footed, you know, with your right foot forward, the trick stick on the left is showing you based on that. So if you go switch, then you have to reverse the inputs. But on top of that, when you're trying to grind, the way to pull off grinds is also the same way to pull off flip tricks most of the time. So like if you want to do a nose grind, you have to go up and over, but to do a shove it, you have to also go up and over. Sometimes when you're in the air, you want to do a specific grind, you end up doing a delayed flip trick instead of pulling off the grind you're trying to pull off. You know, little things like that can really be not even satisfying when you pull it off because it's like it's not even whether or not it's your skill that caused you to pull off or fail the trick. It's just a matter of luck, as if you come in at the right angle at the right time and push the stick and manipulate it in the right way at the right time without having to do a delayed trick. Or if you want to do a delayed trick, doing that without having to pull off a grind. It's not always luck, like there's definitely more skill involved, but a lot of times it can feel like you just get lucky with the tricks you pull off. I found myself some of these challenges, I'll just throw the stick in a bunch of different directions until it says, hey, completed. Also, there were a couple times I swear I did the challenge and it just didn't register. Maybe I didn't do it right, but like I did. But I guess there's some other times where like I try to jump a gap and I won't quite make the gap and it'll check it off. So I guess it kind of balances out. The game's mixed between a few different things. Mainly there's challenges, and then within those challenges are goals. So as you can see here, this is a session challenge, and those are marked by this half pipe. And then, for example, in the session challenge, you can see that it has 3 goals. To get a high score, I've got to jump over the stage, and I've got to grind the lower bleacher. We've also got line challenges that I just did where you have to do one single line. If you fall, you've got to start over. And then there's also challenges within the line like grab to the street, grind on the stair ledge. Sometimes it's do a certain number of grinds or grind a certain distance or manual a certain distance. And if you fall on these, you're done. You've also got own the spot challenges where, like I was talking about earlier, a quick line like a trick to a manual to another trick, and you've got to own the spot. Sometimes you've just got to pull off a few different tricks in the same spot, so you don't have to do them in the same line or at the same time. You can just keep redoing it and make sure you pull off all the tricks in that one spot. But it's all one spot and you got to own that spot. And then lastly, there's the stunt challenges, which are a ton of fun. I don't know if you guys remember that Dave Mirra BMX game, but there was one a while back. Hey, you could either be Macho Man Randy Savage or you could actually be the Slim Jim Man. I don't remember specifically, but I do remember Slim Jim being a part of it. And in that game, you were on bikes, you weren't on skateboards, but there was a mode where you could see how hard you could get hit and how much you could get hurt. And it was like a whole challenge to see how high of a score you could rank, and the score was based on the injury you gained. So you would get huge airs and then just bail from your bike and land as hard as you could to get high scores. I even remember one subway tunnel, and that was how you got the best scores possible. They were off the charts. You would just jump in front of the subway when it came and you would just get destroyed. My friends and I, we just had an absolute blast doing ridiculous stuff like that in that game. And these stunt challenges in skate kind of remind me of that. You'll start on top of a building or something like that, and you have to jump off your skateboard, do like a skydive, maybe find some sort of hole that you have to fly in between, and then you have to land inside a dumpster or something. They're kind of ridiculous, and sometimes you even start on your skateboard. You have to jump off, maybe even land into another huge bowl, jump off of that, and then land. I mean, the opportunities for ridiculousness in this game are still definitely there, despite the realistic aspect. Oh, and if you're wondering what's going on here, why I can just, slam, no problem.
You can thank a local startup called Impervatech for that. They cooked up a solution that allows shredders and stunters to huck with abandon. Don't ask how. It's science.
And that's a lot of what the game's going to be. Accomplishing the goals to accomplish challenges in order to, get your experience points so you can level up your character. And essentially all you're doing from there is unlocking more cosmetics because as a skateboarding game, everything that you can do pretty much is unlocked from the start. If you're a person who likes to build your own park, there is a way to do that here. That's not a big, like if I was building my own park from scratch, like in a Tony Hawk style, I wouldn't mind doing that. I could probably do that with a bank of different ramps and rails and things like that. But in this game, you're given a very limited bank of ramps. You're given like one ramp and maybe one rail at the beginning. And as you play, you can unlock more ramps and rails, so you can put out your own ramps and create your own lines and create your own mini parks anywhere you want to out here in the world. So like that's really the only gameplay unlock that you would get for progressing in the game. Everything else is pretty much just cosmetic. I want to chat a little bit about session markers. They were something that was in the first game that was a pretty cool addition that I liked. I'm sure there's other games that have it. I mean, obviously like racing games, you can do a quick restart, but in a skateboarding game, sometimes you might want to do your own thing. You might want to pull off your own tricks and your own spots and make your own lines, and you don't want to have to run all the way back every time to do it. So there's these session markers. No matter where you are, before I start this, I'll even do one. No matter where you are, you can stand in one spot, hold up on the D-pad, and you'll place a session marker. And then no matter what happens, when you tap up on the D-pad, you'll return to that spot. So if you want to pull off your own line, or if you have a specific trick in mind over a certain area that looks kind of cool and you just want to pull something dope off, definitely you'll be using the session markers. On top of that, when you start challenges, they'll set session markers for you at the beginning too. Flip trick onto there, grab onto there, body flip off. Yeah, more often than not, you are not going to be doing these challenges in one shot, so you're going to be using them a lot, and they're very welcome. If I forgot to place a session marker at a new challenge, I failed the challenge, then I tapped up and went halfway across the map to my previous spot, I'd be furious. I can't tell you how mad I would be. But I will say every once in a while at the beginning of the challenge, it'll say press the session marker as if it didn't set it for me. So I don't know what that's about, but it's there 99% of the time, and I'm real thankful that it is. Oh, you know what? Why don't I just do this? Bam. I didn't need to flip trick first because I could have grabbed and flipped at the same time like that. So I guess that kind of undermined my these feel like the realistic things when I could just throw a backflip down a set of stairs like that. It's definitely still a video game, and you definitely still have some mysterious technology that allows you to survive any slam, but you know, more realistic. And certainly the original Skate was a breath of fresh air. It was just more realistic than the original Tony Hawk Pro Skaters and stuff. So I forgive this one for backsliding a bit. Alright, what else did I want to talk about? Loot boxes, yep. This is an EA game, so of course there are loot boxes. You've got 3 different types of currencies up there.
Rip chips.
So the yellow ones, that's the one you get for completing challenges, and that's the main ones you'll probably be using. The purple ones,
SV bucks.
that's what you get by spending real money. I don't do that, so I don't really bother. And then the blue ones are the seasonal.
Ticks.
The seasonal rewards are in addition to your regular game rewards, so you have a separate currency to spend on those. So here you've got these items that can be purchased with the real money dollars. You start out with some. You can get some from the free seasonal passes if you want to spend your blue
ticks.
And we just got a big bonus of like 500 because the community complained, so that's how I have some. But I don't actually expect to spend any real money on these, so I don't look too hard at these items. But these are the things you can buy with the real currency. These are kind of cool and they're free, so I'll claim them. I need to switch up my whole look. I still have the Halloween vibe and I really don't want it, so I'll do that after this. Yep, more things you can buy with the real money.
SV bucks.
And then this is how you spend your earned currency, I guess I'll say. Each section of the map, well, the map's broken out into 3 sections: Hedgemont, Goldcrest Village, Market Mile. And as you complete challenges within each neighborhood, you'll increase your level within that neighborhood. And increasing your level will unlock more boxes, giving you more cosmetics that you can potentially acquire. On the downside though, it is still boxes. It's not like you can go into each box, select the item you want, and just buy it. Each box costs a certain amount of
Rip chips.
to unlock. Down at the bottom right, you can see like this one costs 250, this one 325 per open, and you get a randomized item from that box each time you open it. So in order to get every item in the game, you've got to open each of these boxes as many times as it's shown, and it'll cost you as much as it shows in the bottom right each time. So yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of grinding and spending a lot of
Rip chips.
and doing a lot of challenges and goals to earn those bucks to unlock all the cosmetics in this game. Then lastly, the seasonal rewards. There's the skate pass. Again, don't have the premium pass, but you can go here. This is the blue currency that you earn. Oh, and let me show that. You earn the blue currency, of course, by completing the tasks. So the daily tasks every day, if you want to come in, you'll get 4, and you can earn, looks like a couple hundred just from the daily tasks. You have weekly tasks, which will give you clearly over a week to complete, and you'll get a nice little bump up in this currency for doing those weekly tasks too. And then seasonal tasks. So it's pretty typical, pretty standard. If you're familiar with online games, familiar with the loot box freemium model, you'll be very familiar with this. There's nothing new here. And then yeah, here's where you can spend those blue. Apparently there's going to be zines every season, and you have to spend all your ticks. That's what the blue currency is called. But it comes in the form of magazines, and the magazine has several items that you can buy, spending your ticks to acquire them. And then as you earn more ticks, you can unlock more pages of the magazine. For example, I've gotten, it seems like, to the bottom page, but like this page doesn't open up until you collect enough ticks, and this page doesn't open up until you get enough ticks, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I believe that's the gist of it. I felt like I kind of rambled, did some summarizing. I think I hit every point that's in the blog, maybe just a little differently. But yeah, this was fun. We'll see how it went. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.